right, Dwayne, we're waiting on you, so just give us a thumbs up when you're ready.
You are now live.
Okay.
Mike's working.
Right.
Mic check.
All right. Welcome to November the 18th Board of Supervisors meeting. Appreciate each one being here this morning. If you would, please take this a second and put your phone on silent. If you would, I'd appreciate it, or we would appreciate it. Also, as always, we'll open up in a word of prayer led by Mr. Phil Buffington, along with the pledge. And Will usually says the pledge, but I will see Will, so I'll lead the pledge. So, Mr. Buffington, please stand.
If you would, please bow your heads. Lord, please guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, empathy, and inclusive speech as we conduct the work of Madison County. Impart your wisdom upon the activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Help us work towards resolving any conflict and finding common ground to improve the quality of life of everyone in Madison County. And help us strive for justice and peace among all people and respect the dignity of every human being. Lord, open our minds to look for your guidance today and in the future. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Phil. All right. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Lott?
Yes, Mr. President, you should have before you the November the 4th board minutes. I would ask if there are no changes, the board please approve said minutes.
Are there any changes the board would like to make? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
I'll move.
Motion Supervisor Banks, do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Griffin, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Next is concerned citizens. Greg?
One name on the list, and that is Mr. Charles Plummer.
Mr. Plummer? If you would, please come up and state your name and give your address and maybe a couple of minutes, please.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Charles Plump. My address is 326 East Sawwell Road, Canton, Mississippi, 39046. I'm here today to discuss issues that I brought to the board, I guess, maybe about 20, 15 years ago. I guess Mr. Banks was just getting started here. Mr. McCullough, I guess he's one of the supervisors as well. But the issues with Bear Creek is sturdy erosion, sturdy widening. The last, 15 years, 20 years ago, it's supposed to have been a sturdy dead concerning the issue. I don't know whether it happened or not, but if it did, I didn't know anything about it. But got about 79 acres that I'm farming. Bear Creek is crooked, running through the property, and it's causing a lot of erosion. Tons of soil being washed away. So my thing is, I noticed a lot of property being used for housing and different things being developed, and it causes more water to come into the creeks. Matter of fact, it's one right at Singleton, formerly Singleton community. They building a big project there. So my concern is with the board, or what is your intention to do about that problem? Because I am a farmer and I got pictures as well, if you care to look at them, concerning my issues. The pictures don't really say a whole lot, but I'm pretty sure if the board is interested in looking at the problem, you can come out anytime and see what my concerns are.
Okay. Mr. Banks?
Yeah. Thank you.
He mentioned you personally, so,
Well, I've been on Mr. Plum for a long time,
okay.
and about the issue. You know, we're working on the watershed, and what I'm gonna do is get these pictures to the engineers that's working on our watershed, the Bear Creek watershed study. 'Cause basically what we're trying to do is stop the flooding in Canton because of Bear Creek, so we know Bear Creek is the issue. And trying to cut down on some of this erosion out here. For instance, your property and other property owners like you. So I can keep these pictures and get them to the engineer, or you wanna keep your own pictures?
Well, it's not doing me any good to keep them, so yeah, you
I'll
can keep
keep
them. So the problem can be addressed, because, Bear Creek, a smaller size creek, but now it's about to be a river,
Yeah.
so we don't need that.
So we're working on that now, actually, the drainage,
Okay.
you know, through the engineers. So, Ms. Banks, you'll, give it the,
I'll get with the
engineers.
engineers, I'll get back with you, Mr. Plum.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Greg, any others?
No, sir.
Okay. Not any other concerned citizens, we'll go to, schedule matters of business. Jan Collins, Business League, and Foundation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Phil Buffington is here with me as Chair of the Madison County Business League and Foundation Government Relations Committee. And I want to thank you, Mr. President and the board, for giving us an opportunity to come before you today. The Board of Supervisors in Makita created the Madison County Business League and Foundation in 2008 to serve as stakeholders for Makita and to be the voice of the private sector, private businesses in Madison County. The most important pillar of the Madison County Business League and Foundation is advocacy for Madison County. We're here to present the proposed 2025 Madison County legislative priorities for your approval in the form of a resolution that can be announced at our Madison County legislative breakfast on December the 11th with our Madison County legislative delegation. And now Phil Buffington will give you the details of that agenda, which you should have before you. I left a copy there that we worked very hard on. So, Phil?
We do. Thank you.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Glad to be here with y'all today. I know you've got these in front of you, and y'all know the process we go through every year. We meet with each of you, and we meet with other elected officials, the mayors, and then we try to come together and find an agenda that's the priorities for the county. This year we've done that. It's been approved by the Madison County Business League and Foundation Board. It has been approved by the Madison County Economic Development Authority, and we are here today to seek your approval on this legislative agenda for Madison County. Those topics are the Interstate 55 Capacity Project, which is the widening of the interstate between Madison and Gluckstadt. Also on the list is Weisenberger Road Project, which is really in the northeast corner of the area that's being developed down there with from 463 at Madison all the way up to Gluckstadt Road, from Bozeman Road over to Highway 51. Excuse me. And then the last item on the list is seeking to have a participant in the Workforce Development Task Force that's been established by Mississippi, since that is an area in Madison County that's growing and there's a need for, and so we would like to seek a participant to be part of that task force. Those are our three priorities for this year, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them. On the Weisenberg Road project, I think we're going to have a resolution that y'all are going to consider after this that'll kind of bring this together for you. But those are the three priorities that we came up with after meeting with everybody.
Okay. Thank you, Phil. Any questions for Phil at this point? Appreciate your work on this, as well, because I know it's a lot of meetings, a lot of effort put into this. Very important for the county, for y'all to be involved in the business league and the leaders of Madison County to be involved with the Board of Supervisors as well. And so on the list, I see Interstate I-55 capacity project, which, as you indicated, the widening from 463 to Gluckstadt, and Weisenberger project, which is about a $20 million project as well. And then participation in Workforce Development Task Force. Could you maybe go into a little details with that?
Well, and I wish I had more details on that. We may already have a participant on that task force, but it's our understanding that a task force is being developed by the state of Mississippi for workforce development. And since we are such a growing economy and have such a need for workforce development in Madison County, we want to actively lobby the legislature to make sure that we have a participant on that task force going forward, just to protect the needs of Madison County and be involved in the process. Now, I also, if I may, this obviously doesn't include all of the priorities of Madison County. I know there are a lot of them, but these are the legislative priorities that we're going to go to the legislature to ask for help in these three projects. So I just wanted to make sure that we had that clarification, because I know the county has other priorities too.
Right, okay. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Supervisor Banks, I'll second the motion. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Also, we have our lobbyist here at the Capital Resource Group as well. And so we got our working papers in front of us, and so got a lot of work to do ahead of time. So appreciate y'all being here as well. Thank you, Phil. Thank you,
Thank y'all,
Jan.
and thank y'all for participation in this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, going in with that, Mike, if you would, I know that Phil mentioned a resolution with the city of Gluckstadt as well. If you would, maybe let's go ahead and take that one up while we're talking about our priorities.
Sure. Good morning, Board. In accordance with what you just heard from Mr. Buffington, if you go to item 45 on the agenda, you'll see that there's a resolution in support of one of the priority projects that you just heard that this board would like to promote in the 2025 legislative session. And that is specifically the widening of Weisenberger Road between Parkway East and Highway 51. And we're doing this to emphasize to the legislature that it's a serious project, one that deserves priority consideration, because Madison County has grown exponentially for the last 10 years, which has put an inordinate burden on traffic. There's a lot of congestion right there along Weisenberger Road. And this board is considering engineering reports that talks about what we need to do to mitigate that congestion, enlarge the road to 5 lanes, put new traffic signals and mast arms. And so this is a resolution to the Mississippi legislature asking them to do this. And it also tells the legislature that we are working with the city of Gluckstadt in one accord. In fact, the mayor of Gluckstadt has read and approved this resolution, and he stands ready to put it before his Board of Aldermen and receive unanimous consideration, hopefully. And so if you'll pass this, the president will sign it, the mayor will sign it, and we'll put it in the legislative request for 2025.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Baxter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Mike, because what you said, this is working together, on one project, and it's always helpful when we do that. So appreciate the resolution, Mike. Also, backing up now to the consent items. Are there any items that a board member would like to have removed or discuss on consent items? If not, do I have a motion for approval? for consent items?
I'll move.
Motion by Supervisor Banks, second, I'll second the motion. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Supervisor Griffin?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to, reappoint Alvin Davis to Madison County Citizen Service Agency Board.
We got a motion, and I'll second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Next item, we come down to business items, the Mega Site Fire Protection Board. And I think we have Carrie Benninger. You're gonna come up and,
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
Before I get started talking, I'd like to introduce our other board members that are here. I have Andrew Hughes, Calvin Garrett, Nathan Jordan, and Mike Ratfield. They're board members, and they've all worked very hard on this project. Also like to thank Mike for his guidance. He meets with us and kind of keeps us in the straight and narrow on things. But, you know, coming up here following what y'all just heard about the growth in Madison County is great. And so kind of along those lines, this is where this project comes in with the mega site and the growth that we're going to see out there. So as y'all know, we've been working for the last several months on the construction of a fire station. And so after some lot of discussion and visiting other places and looking at things, we finally arrived at, I guess, our destination. So what you're looking at is a 13,500 square foot facility.
hold on one second. Carrie,
Yeah.
can we kindly dim the lights where we can maybe see a little clearer? There you go.
It's dim.
We may not, hey, we may not can see anything else, but we can see the fire station.
So I'm gonna talk from memory since I can't see what I wrote.
Oh.
So, this is a 13,000 square foot, 13,500 square foot building, heated and cooled, with the living quarters, the training room, day room, kitchen, so forth. It's about 5,000 square feet. And you've got about 8,600 square feet that is the apparatus room and storage area of the building. It's a pre-engineered metal building, which is the most cost-effective way to build this type of building. The exterior walls are all concrete block, and then you have the gray part you're looking at is some metal cladding. There's brick and stone fascia around the apparatus room doors to make it look a little better. One of the things that we've done in this building is the exercise room in this building also doubles as a storm shelter. It's a kind of a hardened room. So if we have a tornado or severe storms, that room would serve to protect the personnel there. We built this, of course, the ladder truck will be in here, the heavy rescue, but we built this for the future. We think this facility will serve Madison County for many years to come. As I mentioned before when I was here, we don't just look at our function as a fire district. We kind of look at it from an economic development standpoint. We want to create a building and a fire district that serves all of Madison County. One of our big things is training. And if you look at one of the, go back one slide there, that left bottom corner right there, that's the training room. We can seat about 28 people, 28 to 30 firefighters or other people in that area for training. We hope as Mega Site develops that we'll be able to do on-site training facility, live fire, that type of thing, that'll work in conjunction with this training room. So that's kind of where we're at. The build time, Maloof's told us build time on this once they start construction is about 10 months. The cost is about 6.5 million. And then there's about another 350,000 that will be furniture and equipment and everything else that would go into the building itself. If you look on that map, you can kind of see the large white place is the fulfillment center. The red dot up there is actually the site of the fire station, and it's kind of at the crossroads. So we can go east if we need to, and then of course south, so it'd be quick response to all the facilities that are going to be built at the mega site. And then of course, if the mega site is enlarged any, we'd be able to go in a westerly direction. So
Okay.
with that, is there any questions?
Oh, no, but that's a great looking, fire station though.
We went through several different designs and had a lot of input from different people on that. And so we felt like that would represent Madison County very well.
Carrie, are you familiar with the, I guess, lack of a better term, the fire retardation system on the mega site? How does that operate? I mean, the data center, how does that, they don't, if it catches on fire, they won't put water on it, will they?
So those data centers, because they're computer, they have several different types of fire systems. They actually have some sprinkler systems in them, but they also have some gas type systems.
To take the oxygen out of the air, or what?
Yeah, it's minor.
Are you guys gonna receive any type of special training for,
Not yet, but we will. What's the, it's not Halon anymore. What's the other system they're using now?
I'm not sure what they were using on that.
So they have some sprinklers, some areas are sprinklers, but then there's some others that are specialized. But to answer your question, yeah, that's one of the things that we're looking at. One reason we're looking at having this for training is because we want to bring all the fire departments in the county in to train on these buildings. God forbid we ever have a fire in one of them. We want to be prepared and want to know what to do, and it won't be just one fire department operation. You know, we'll have several departments to respond. So there will be some specialized training that goes on. Of course, each one of those buildings has quite a number of diesel-powered generators. So we'll be dealing with training on those also. So be a lot of training going on for just those deals.
all right, thank you.
Other questions? Carrie, we appreciate you and the
Thank
fire
y'all.
board putting this together, because I know we all been working on this now for a couple of 3 years, and now we're seeing happen. And so we appreciate it, and so in about, you said about 8 to 9 months?
They said 10 months,
10
but,
months.
you know, we'll push them.
There you go.
Try to get it done, so.
All right, well, hey, we look forward to having the ribbon cutting out there.
Yep.
Grand
you.
opening. All right, thank you,
Thank you.
Carrie. Okay, next is Thad.
10 o'clock's gonna be the bid opening on
10
that
o'clock
one.
for them,
So,
okay.
If you will, do you mind skipping?
All right, next is Tim.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First item I have is the professional services agreement for the Yandell Road signal installation at North Old Canton Road. This is with Benchmark Engineering. It's for a fee not to exceed $357,676.04, and also to authorize the board president to sign the document.
Do I have a motion?
I make that motion.
Motion Supervisor Griffin, do I have a second? I'll second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Yeah, anybody here from Benchmark?
I have not seen anybody from Benchmark today.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so it passed, Ronnie, you get the motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tim?
Oh, did that? Okay, sorry. Next item I have is professional services agreement for the section of Stribling Road between DeWeese Road and Catlett Road at Red Fox Lane. This is with Michael Baker International for a fee not to exceed $793,893.63. Authorize board president to sign the contract.
Do I have a motion? Motion Supervisor Baxter, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
All right, next item I have is professional services agreement for the widening and reconstruction of Calhoun Station Parkway. This is with Stantec Consulting Services for a fee not to exceed $345,443.37. Authorize board president to sign the contract.
Do Do I have a motion?
Excuse me, can I, before we make a motion, that is that contract deals with just repairing it as where it is that it's not expanding the lanes? and-
That is expanding the lanes.
That is expanding the lanes?
Yes,
We will
sir.
get 5-lane road,
You will get I believe it's a 4-lane road.
4-lane road, okay, I'll make that motion.
Motion Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second? I'll second. Second Supervisor Baxter. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, next item I have is kind of I guess it would be a twofer. First is, the Grand Oaks subdivision has 13 lots, is a private road, so there's a need for a variance from the subdivision ordinance. The subdivision ordinance 301.07 requires that private streets built to standards less than public streets be limited to 12 lots, with minimum lot size being 5 acres. This development has 13 lots, and 3 of those lots are less than 5 acres. So the first item would be for a variance for the subdivision to allow the 1 lot over that, and 3 of those lots being less than 5 acres.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Where is this subdivision at?
It is in District 4.
All right.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Motion Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second? I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, next item would be a request for the approval of the preliminary plat.
I'll make that motion.
Motion Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second? I'll second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Final
Dan,
item-
why would our ordinance read only 12 lots? I mean, I know they put 12 there for a reason, but
Scott, do you?
that's fine. I mean, they just put a number there, I guess.
That was what Carl just thought of it does.
Okay, that's fine.
It could be a health department regulation.
Yeah, it may be. The 5 acres, I believe, is health department regulation. I'm not sure on the 12 lots.
Yeah, okay. Good deal.
Final
Item
item I have
41.
is, on November the 15th, last Thursday, we received bids for the traffic signal at Reunion Parkway at Parkway East. We received 1 bid from Lewis Electric for $347,400. This bid was within 6% of the engineer's estimate. We recommend approval of this bid with Lewis Electric.
All right, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Supervisor Baxter, second Supervisor Banks. And we're still on schedule to open the road by the end of the year.
Reunion 3, we are.
Yes, okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Tim.
Now,
Tim, where are we on
Blackberry Creek Road
Yeah,
with Mr. Steele.
yeah,
We'll be getting with him this week and getting that scheduled.
okay, thank you.
Could I take a moment?
Yes.
Bozeman Road, we should be beginning the Bozeman Road project this week. The public will see construction signs going up probably Wednesday of this week. Barrels will be going up soon thereafter, and the contractor will be out in the next 2 or 3 weeks, starting to clear the right-of-way. They will not be in the road itself, but they will be clearing the right-of-way. So that project is going to be started in the very near future.
What's the estimated time of
Good.
construction?
2 to 2.5 years. So,
Tim, what about the intersection in Gluckstadt and Catholic? Is that started, will be started this week as well, or is that kind of down the road? Or?
well, I'm not exactly sure when they're going to begin the construction on that because there's not as much clearing involved in that. But
Right.
the major work in the roadways is not going to happen until after Christmas.
Okay.
The contractor's they're not getting out there in the road until after
Right.
Christmas season. So I would expect that to happen after we get through with the holidays.
Yeah. Okay, good deal.
Okay.
Thank you
All
for
right.
the update.
Yes, sir.
Scott?
Morning, Board.
Good morning.
First item I have is a medical hardship for a mobile home. It's on Yandle Road. It's Helen Archie, and the Supervisor District 5, and this is to facilitate the care of a loved one.
Scott, what's the, ordinance on if the person with the medical hardship passes away, is there a span of time they have to move the, I mean, is this thing gonna be there forever?
Well, that could be up to the board's discretion. If it's just for that time being, then we could, you
Is
could
this
definitely
next door to,
facilitate that.
this next door to all those junk cars?
I think that is that's on the property down the road from
No,
that.
it's not next to it. I make a motion to approve it.
Got a motion for approval, Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks, further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed.
I'm gonna vote no.
Sorry, what was that vote tally?
That was a no.
One no?
Okay.
Any progress being made on moving those cars?
I'm gonna discuss that with Mr. Hawkins and make sure that is addressed and taken care of. I know he's been working with them.
Who been working with it?
William,
William?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Item 43.
Sam Hillary Livingston IV, this is a zoning violation. It's constitute a commercial kennel operation, 2335 Sharon Road, Supervisor District 5. I've sent them a letter notifying them of the violation. Mr. Jim Cruz is the attorney for Mr. Livingston, and they have filed a rezoning petition on this. And Mr. Cruz is here if you want to discuss that with him.
All right.
I wanna hear what Mr. Cruz got to say, if he here.
He is.
Okay.
But I think he's backing into a procedure here. He should have been out front first. This been going on 3 years now.
All right, you want Mr. Cruz to
Yeah,
come up?
we could hear what he got to say.
Morning, Mr. President, members of the board.
Good morning.
I am Jim Cruz, as Mr. Weeks said. We are, as he mentioned, we have filed a petition seeking to have Mr. Livingston's property rezoned from A1 to C2, which is a zoning classification that we're informed we need to be. This is a first-class retriever field trial obedience training facility, and we're just asking the board today to let us work through this process before planning and zoning, and see if we can come to a solution that everyone can live with.
What is the, I'm sorry, go ahead, Supervisor Griffin.
Scott, what would be our next step, as of the day, since they're here?
Scott, if you would, if you maybe just tell us what the issue is first.
Well, the kennels are classified as a commercial operation, so it would have to be zoned C2 for that to be the proper use of that property.
And what is actually going on out there in the area now?
Dog barking all night long, disturbing people from sleeping. And when they get disturbed, I get disturbed, cause my phone rings.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, they hold the phone up about 11 o'clock at night to ask me, can I hear it?
So the kennel is already there then?
Yes.
And there,
Yes.
it's in operation
Yeah.
at this
Yes.
point? Okay.
That's what I meant by he's trying to back into this.
Right. When he should have been out front,
Yeah.
as you said, on the zoning to start with. Okay?
What's the next step that this board can take today?
You can either allow them to go through the P&Z process and let it work out that way, or get up with my attorney and we could proceed forward with the zoning violation.
Is, Andy,
Yeah, Andy's here.
you got a suggestion, Andy?
Mr. Krug, let him come up to the phone, to the mic, please.
Oh, he's all right.
Just think that it's been going on a long time already.
Correct. And I don't know all the history that you have, but I certainly take you at your word for it. The violation exists today. They've obviously taken steps to try to remedy that, you know, whether that's you know, too little, too late, or should have been done previously, or any of those other things that you say, but the violation does exist today as it is. So I would, you know, you have the option to move forward with an injunction to stop that, and get court involvement. You can go ahead and proceed with that, but essentially hold it in abeyance. You know, not move forward on the issue with the court. We can go ahead and file and even get them served and agree to hold that in abeyance until the planning and zoning and you guys rule on the rezoning. Or you can hold everything in abeyance and let it go through the process, and see what happens at planning and zoning, what happens in this board. That's up to you guys as to which direction you would.
Is there any other commercial in this area?
I'm not aware of it, Scott.
So, I mean, I don't see the point in them going through zoning if spot zoning to allow their kennel would be not, I hate to use the word not legal, but it's not something that I want to participate in.
The property to the north of it is C2 currently. I think it was an existing store.
Is it on the same street, on the same road?
It directly abuts his property.
Okay.
Stewart hadn't existed in 40 years though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, do you have to drive by his property to get to that store if it was in operation? Or is it on a completely different road?
No, but you can come another direction and not come by his
Yeah.
property.
I don't know. Just my personal opinion is I wouldn't want a dog
to-
kennel anywhere near
Right.
me.
But to your point, obviously they have a right to petition to seek
Yes,
that.
that's right.
The burden would still be on them to prove any of the, all of the steps in a rezoning process, you know.
So today, what's in front of us today is they're in violation,
That's correct.
and you're asking this board to either let's stop the violation now or let them move forward until they can go to the planning and zoning and see what happens.
I await your instruction as to the next step in a process, if any.
Have they been in violation? What I'm hearing is they've been in violation for 3 years.
Not certain as to the time frame on that.
I think there've been, telephone calls, made to him, telling him that the dog is out, and he controls them for a little while. And then, after a little time go by, the dogs start back, or he bring in more dogs.
Yeah.
And it never got all the way through the process. So that's the reason, I wanna make sure we get it to the process this time. I think Scott been handling it with a courtesy of a phone call.
Okay.
And
What's the wishes of the board?
is to, my motion would be to hawk it as of now, while he go through the process of, rezoning, if he choose to.
Halt it, you mean just pump the brakes and let him move through the process and see where that goes?
For him not to be able to use it as a kennel
Okay.
as of today, and let him go through the process and see what.
Short of an agreement, and I'm just giving options, short of an agreement from, this gentleman to do so, the only other way to get that done is through the court system.
Of course, what, I didn't hear that.
I said, short of an agreement from him to do so, to stop, just want to let you know that the only valid or legal ability that you would have would be through the court system. So that's whatever you choose.
Yeah,
Not pushing one way or the other.
no, as of today, no, not pushing no way or the other, but to, I'm hoping your client and listen to him not to use it anymore if he go through the process of rezoning.
The whole purpose of.
All right, hold on
I'm
one
sorry.
second, hold on. We have a motion on the table, and I wanna make sure, clear that motion a little clearer.
And that's if we can do it, and just basically put it on hold, as of today, with him not using, the facility for a kennel. And if he choose to go forward with, to rezone it, let him choose and go forward with the rezoning. But as of today, I would say we halt it. You get what I'm saying? Can we do that?
Mr. Lott asked me to write the motion. So I think the motion is to cease, the board will vote to cease operation of the business as a dog kennel till such time as the zoning commission reacts and approves or disapproves his application for commercial operation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, second for further discussion.
Yeah.
And so what I understand then, this business would be, would stop until the planning process, until they go in front of the planning and zoning. All right, how do we do that without going through the courts?
My opinion is that Mr. Cruz would have to agree to that, or his client would have to agree to that here in front of you
All
guys
right,
here today.
Mr. Prue?
Mr. Steen, we are asking this board to just defer any action until we get through.
Yeah, but you heard what the board, you heard what the motion is, so the answer is,
I hear what the board is saying. I'm just explaining our position. And
That's
as
right.
Mr. Clark said the two options that we have are, one, we agree to. Well, we're trying to keep this business alive, so I don't see how we agree to it.
Okay.
Which gives us option B, which is the injunctive process that apparently is what we're facing.
okay. So, Mr. Griffith, with your motion then,
I'm gonna take it off the table and basically direct Andy to take it through the process of the court.
That's a new motion.
That's a
Okay.
new motion.
Second new motion.
okay. Got a motion from Supervisor Griffin to have injunction through court, and second for Supervisor Banks to stop, this business because it is in violation against our policy, our ordinance. Okay? That is the motion on the table. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, Scott, you have your working orders then. Okay, Mike?
I've got two remaining items before the board. The first relates to mental health operations in the county. The board will recall that at the last meeting, the board made two actions. Number one was to terminate the contract between the county and Region 8 Mental Health. And the board voted to do that. As I've written the letter to terminate the contract, it's not on the agenda because you've already taken action. But I want the board to know the letter's been written. Under the contract, as of 2021, it requires a 30 days notice to terminate participation. So this basically tells Mr. Van that the board voted to terminate its contract with Region 8 Mental Health Commission. The $200,000 per year will no longer be coming to them. And basically, that's the notice that the board has stopped its official relationship with Region Mental 8 under the contract. So that's done. I want you to know that. Right. So it'll be signed today by myself and the administrator. So that's coming. The second item that you voted on was to retain Mr. Tim Pickett as in the new position of liaison for mental health in Madison County. And so that contract is before you. It's pretty straightforward. It basically says that the board agrees to retain Mr. Tim Pickett as a consultant, not as an employee, but as an independent consultant to provide mental health treatment services and consultation to the Madison County Board of Supervisors. I've spoke to Mr. Pickett. He's agreed to this. He's agreed to these terms. And the terms are that he's an independent consultant and not an employee. There are no benefits that he would be entitled to as a consultant on this contract. The contract would begin December 1st of this year, and it would basically, the initial term would terminate with the end of your term, which is the end of December 2027. If the new board wanted to continue this contract, of course, they would be eligible to do so. The retainer fee is on an annual basis of $60,000, which is the amount that the board agreed to at the last meeting. There would be an escalation of 10% after the first year of 10%. It makes it $66,000 at the second year. The scope of work is laid out. It's pretty expansive. He'll assist in the placement of mental health patients, the securing of beds, working with the Madison County Sheriff in the commitment process for those who've been alleged to be mentally ill, working with the Chancellor Clerk on the same basis, being available on a 24/7 time period for emergencies. If there are any episodes of mental health emergencies, such as suicide, and just to be available. And at this meeting, if called upon and available to assist either of the supervisors, the sheriff, and the chancellor clerk. The agreement can be terminated by either party upon 30 days' notice, dispute resolution, and that's it. So you asked us to draft this agreement. The agreement is before you, and I recommend approval of the agreement.
Okay. Questions for Mike? Mike, on the 10% increase, is that just for 1 year, or is that just throughout the contract?
10% increase is for the second year, and it remains that way for the remainder of the contract.
Okay, I got you. Other questions for Mike? Okay, if not, do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Motion Supervisor Griffith, second Supervisor Banks, and this is a position that we discussed in the past as well. To
Yes.
help, since we terminated the $200,000 contract.
Yes.
We're actually coming back to replace that contract really with this $66,000 contract. Basically.
Correct.
What I understand that we're doing, and so actually we're saving, $136,000, $130,000 to $140,000.
Correct.
And getting, the same.
Correct.
So we just put it being more efficient.
And we're retaining someone with respect in this area.
Right.
You remember that the sheriff gave him great plaudits.
Right.
For what he's done in the county with this issue. And so you're just retaining someone with experience, integrity, professionalism, and saving some money.
Okay. Got a motion on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Question, Mike, before we go, on just me looking at this contract, do it gives, the sheriff and the board really, permission to add anything to it? Because as we get into it, we might see that we need his, expertise on something else, mental health.
It's in there.
It's in there?
It does. It gives you general authority to enlarge the scope of work.
Okay.
Not the fee,
No.
but the scope of work
Scope of work.
for this position.
Okay.
Okay. Good deal. Thank you. Next item, Mike.
This item is with an eye to the future. So the board is very proud of the Ragsdale Solar Facility as it has begun to work in this county. But this particular contract is with an eye to what happens if the solar facility is ever decommissioned.
Right.
if they ever go out of business. And so, if this is something that the solar company really wanted, they agreed to, if they ever go out of business, terminate the solar energy facility there on the premises. They agreed to give this county the ability to come in for salvage value. If anything is left that they didn't tidy up or take with them, whether it's panels or metal fittings 3 feet below the surface of the ground, we would bear the responsibility of finally cleaning that up for salvage value. And so they are saying to us that they have the primary responsibility of cleaning the premises, but if they don't do a good enough job in our interpretation, there'll be a bond created that they will pay for and make available for our benefit to absorb the cost of our coming in and cleaning it up to our satisfaction. So that's basically it. It's a decommission agreement that allows us to clean the property if we're not appreciative of what they've done after they've been decommissioned.
Okay, and I was looking at this, and I may have overlooked it, but what kind of dollar amount is the bond? I didn't see it, but.
You didn't see it because it's not there. So it basically said, we don't know what the cost will be, right? So it depends on what it costs to clean it up. So they're saying that the cost will be determined once the decommission actually happens, right? So we don't know. It could be, they may just leave everything, or they may clean it up to our great satisfaction and leave little to be done. So what they're saying is that the board, this county, and the company would determine the value of the bond. I believe it was 12 months after, within 12 months after the decommissioning actually happens. We hope that they're never decommissioned.
Right.
We hope that they operate ad infinitum. But this is just protection for the county in case that they leave.
Oh, yeah, it's needed.
Yes.
I just thought it should.
Why do the county need protection from a private business not cleaning up their environmental disaster?
We need protection because if there are things there that are dangerous or that are ugly and that prevents us from doing anything there to get our salvage value, then the taxpayers would have to pay for the county to come in to do it.
Wouldn't we be able to go through the zoning process and make them clean it up on their dime? I mean,
I'm not aware of.
We have a property owner right now with a bunch of trees on his land that are making him clean up. We have authority to make someone clean up their private property. I don't see why we need to enter into a contract to say, oh, there's a time limit now on us getting reimbursed for it, for something that is going to be a very costly thing. Of course, the company, Ragsdale, wants to enter into this agreement with the county as a protection for the county. What it really is a protection from them because they can leave all that garbage there, and if for some reason it goes unnoticed or we are slow to act in 12 months, y'all missed the 12-month window from a contract you signed 15 years ago.
I think it's just the opposite of what you're saying. If they leave and leave a bunch of stuff out there, it may take us a while to enact the bureaucracy to come in and say, clean up your stuff, and they've already gone. They would say, come back to Mississippi and clean up your stuff. What we're saying now is there's financial protection for the county.
What if Ragsdale goes out of business? What if they file Chapter 13? There's no such thing as Ragsdale anymore. Who is funding this bond for us to clean it up?
That's a lot of supposition.
That is
But I will say to you that this is a bond that'll be in place.
Question.
All right, hold on, let Mike answer before you ask another question. So,
Who will finance it? The bond, if you pass this, there'll be a bond in place for a sufficient sum, I assume, to clean up what is left there. As we said, I don't know the amount of the bond because I don't know the condition of the cleanup years into the future. But I'm pleased that this company is respectful enough to think about what happens in the future.
Is the
And
bond created today with a set amount put in it that would cover the cost of cleanup? And will it grow as time passes when we both know that what it takes to clean up today is going to be substantially less than what it costs to clean up 15 years from now?
My answer is the same. We don't know when it will be decommissioned. Hopefully it never will be decommissioned. This is a process in place to cover the cost of cleaning if they don't do it.
This contract sounds like it's just putting us on the hook to clean up. They go out of business, we're on the hook to clean it up, or sit there and look at it.
Mike, who is?
There'll be a bond in place to finance the cleanup.
Is the bond gonna be put in place when we pass this? Or will the bond be put in place when they decide they no longer want to be at that facility?
The bond will be envisioned to be put in place when you pass this. There is no bond today because they just begun operation.
Well, if a company goes out of business and they don't have any money to pay off their debtors, those people are gonna get all of the money first, and then we are gonna be stuck with a decommissioning their property.
By operation of law, if this company goes out of business or is bankrupt and leaves us in a place that's not appropriate to our liking, if they go bankrupt, then we will be one of the lien holders. And we will point to this contract to say, you told us you would clean up your area and you didn't. So we'll be in line maybe with others, but that's not unlike what we've done with other bankruptcies.
I am very weary of a contract that puts us on the hook for possibly cleaning up this land. If it was me, I'd want them to set aside a fund right now that says, this is how much we want, this is how much it would cost to clean it up tomorrow, and we will add to that fund based on a set rate every year, so that if we do close or want to go out of business, this money is set aside for the county to clean this up.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but under your scenario, if we don't have an agreement and they leave in the dead of night and you have to go through, there's no protection for any bond or coverage, and you are relied upon the Madison County bureaucracy to find them, to sue them, to bring them back, and to make them clean it up. I mean, how many years would that take?
Well, I mean, we're in the same boat right now.
Mike, from what I understand, this bond will do is if, for some reason, they close the business down and do not clean up the way that the county expects them to clean the property, then we can go on this bond and use that money to be able to go and clean the property. And who's paying for this bond?
They are.
That's my understanding, so.
Yes.
Am I clear on that?
Correct.
Okay.
But if they don't have any money to fund a bond,
Well, they pay the bond, how often, every year?
Now you're asking details that I can't respond to. But I know in the general bond business, the person that buys the bond pays the premium. And it could be yearly, monthly, I don't know.
And who keeps up with that with the county to make sure that the
We
bond-
would,
We would. I think the
Yes.
district clerk would.
yes.
I think that's who keeps up with that. So they would look at it and to ensure that the bond is being kept up to date or paid yearly,
Yes.
or ever how they
Is
choose
it-
to pay.
possible to get details so that we can make a decision and vote yes or no on this based on actual numbers instead of hopes and dreams?
I will do whatever the board directs me to do.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to table this and come back with some actual numbers instead of, we don't know until you vote on it.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to
Second.
table this. Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second. Further discussion. Okay, we sit with the motion, let's just deal with the motion. What are we asking to come back with, to make sure we're clear? What are we asking?
I want some numbers as far as, how much the bond is going to be for, how it will be determined, and how will it grow over the course of time to cover this expense. I don't want to be left holding the bag because you can't squeeze water from a stone.
Yeah.
Would they know that on how much it's gonna cost to clean up 20 years from now?
Well, you can guesstimate based on inflation of 3% a year. You can guesstimate on the fact that I'm sure they have decommissioned sites in the past.
What number would you like to see?
I would like to see a number, not an imaginary
Okay, so you do
number.
not have a number
I do
in
not have
mind?
a number.
Okay,
I just want to see a number.
Yeah.
I don't want there to be, I don't know, behind how much is the bond?
Yeah.
When is the bond?
Let me ask this question. Did they have to present and ask us and give us the opportunity?
No.
to Tell us about a bond?
They did not.
I think that's some good faith right there, if they are coming forward and present us with a bond.
you know, I would agree that, you know, we do need to have a number in there, and I was looking for that number, and it's not, you know, in the contract. You know, I don't know what that number should be, and that's why, you know, I was just asking if you thought, you know, of a number, but, you know, haven't at this point. I do think that we do need a number of some sort that, in that bond. You know, I just don't know what that number is. And so I think it may be worthwhile there, Mike, to go and talk with them and see if we can come up with a number.
Could I read section 2.1? It's called bond issuance. And I'm just reading this. The surety bond shall be in effect from the 15th anniversary of the effective date to the 35th anniversary of the effective date, and shall be in an amount equal to the estimated amount of removal cost of the solar facilities, if any less salvage value is determined by an independent third-party engineer retained by the company, provided that the company shall provide proof of said estimate to the county prior to the 15th anniversary of the effective date.
Okay.
So there is no amount, but there'll be an engineer, third-party engineer, hired to determine the amount.
Right.
And then the bond is issued under this agreement to that amount.
So the number is actually taken care of with what you just read?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no way to estimate it.
But
Okay.
we have to wait 15 years to get that number?
Yeah. That what it say.
Hope they don't go out of
You know,
business.
Let's hope they don't go out of business and hope that we're all still alive.
well, right now, there's nothing in place other than, our county zoning laws. Just like you mentioned about the guy on, I-55 that we're trying to get him to clean up. You know, at least this is it's just another mechanism. It doesn't replace county zoning. It doesn't replace anything that we already have in law, but this is just another mechanism.
So I have one more thought of what makes this property different that it would need to be cleaned up than, say, any other business that built a building and decided to shut down and left an empty building? Why do those entities are they not coming to the county to say, hey, we'll file a bond to clean up our building? You know, cause I'm sure, you can drive anywhere and see a building that's been empty for years and years and years and years.
Yep.
What is different about a solar farm needing to be cleaned up than, an old, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I really don't, yeah, it's,
Acreage.
I guess the acreage.
Or,
But I don't think there's any difference. I believe that them coming and saying, hey, they may have seen some things in their competitors in the past where things weren't right. And I think this is just their way of trying to say, well, we want to make things right. We want to be the best solar farm, and we want to do it the right way. And this is what we're offering to say, hey, we don't plan on going nowhere. The lifespan on those things is like 30 years, and we don't plan on going anywhere. As long as they are there, I anticipate that they will be changing panels as needed, and that lifespan just be going on in perpetuity, because they are providing and being, energy is paying them a lot of money for what they provide. I see this as it's just them saying, hey, we want to protect the county against anything in the future, but at the same time, the county already has rules. The county already has laws. So it's just an added deal. Now, 15 years from now, if something happens, I'll be the first one to vote to take care of it.
Well, you've changed my mind.
Good discussion.
I've heard arguments and, changed my mind. I'll withdraw my motion to table, and, we can get back to discussing the original motion.
Okay, motion withdrawn. And Mike, didn't we initiate this contract from the county's end, or was it?
The decommissioning of it?
Yes. Didn't we initiate this bond, or ask them to put up a bond?
Mr. President,
Don't.
I didn't.
Okay. All right.
I think it came from me.
Yeah, okay. Do you have a motion then?
I move we go ahead with the decommissioning, bond situation here that's proposed to us. It's just another protection. We haven't never thought about it. I mean, it's out there, it's operating, like every other business, and no business has given us anything like this to say, hey, if anything happens and we have to go, we want to make sure that it's cleaned up to your standards.
Right.
And that's basically what they're saying.
Yeah, I see it positive. So we got a motion, Supervisor Banks. Do we have a second? I'll second his motion. Discussion? I don't see anything but positive coming out of it. It's just added to what our ordinance already has. So I just see it's being positive.
An added veneer of protection for the county.
That's right.
And Mr. Brannon, it's instructive. I think you have good thoughts. Perhaps the county should look at other businesses and consider requiring them to do the same.
I don't want to set that precedent, but.
All right, we have a motion on the table and have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Okay, Greg?
All right, good morning, Board.
Good morning.
One thing on the agenda for you, that would be item 47, which is an update on the Madison County Annex renovation. We received confirmation Friday from the contractor that all materials are in hand and they are ready to begin work. Consequently, barring any objections from this board or an elected official while I'm standing up here, we intend to begin work on that renovation Friday. That would be November 22nd. The inside of the building will be shut down for 2 weeks. The drive-through will remain operational during the duration of the project. So if you need a tag and you are in the Madison Ridgeland area, we're going to be doing a little bit of work on the inside of the building that used to be the bank. We're going to get rid of some of that ugly green tile that just screams late 90s bank. This is a coat of paint and some carpet. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We just need to give them a little space and a little time to get it done. So the contractor has assured us the building will be operational by December 9th. So 2 weeks of it being shut down with the drive-through open the entire time, and then it opens back up, and it's going to look a lot like our sheriff's office. This is all part of kind of a long-term plan to make our buildings look similar which makes maintenance easier. If it's just one kind of carpet or one kind of tile, it's a lot easier to maintain than trying to find, you know, which green carpet this is versus the green carpet that's across the street. So that's kind of the long-term plan here, is uniformity.
And Greg, I do know that you have been working with the tax collector and assessor.
Yes, sir.
On this 2 weeks closing, and they have agreed
Yes,
as
sir.
well to get the job finished quicker to where they can open up sooner.
Yes, sir.
So,
And
the next thing is really good communication to let the people know that it's gonna be closed on the inside only, and the drive-through will be open.
Yes, sir, and we're gonna set something up for Mr. Kennedy's office somewhere down there. We're still kind of sorting through that. So you should be able, as a member of the public, to conduct business down there. It just may be a little slow.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you for the update. Any questions from the board? If not, thank you for the update.
I've got one more very brief, and this is also more of a PSA, just so this board is aware. Our fiscal year 2023 audit is 90% of the way complete. They have done all of the on-site work. They have been here for the last 3-4 weeks.
Ooh, great.
Doing all of the on-site testing that they have to do, and they completed that Friday. So they're still waiting on a couple of numbers, particularly the pension liability stuff, which is a bunch of garbage that we shouldn't have to report, but we do. So once they get that from a third party, which is who we contract to provide that information, then audit should be done.
Okay.
So that's good news as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg. Nassan?
Do we want to go back?
Wait a minute, do you want to go back?
We're gonna go ahead and finish, and then we'll get them last.
Good morning. Item number 48 before you is the budget amendments and the interfund cash transfers.
Move.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks, I'll second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
The next two items, 49 and 50, is the general claims docket and one payroll docket.
Move.
Motion, Supervisor Banks, I'll second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Mr. Banks, item 51.
Okay, item 51.
Yes, sir. Item number 51 is the approval of the FEET Corps claim docket.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then
Mrs.
item number 52 is the approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission for their per diem for November.
Do I have a motion for approval?
Move.
Motion, Supervisor Banks, do I have a second? I'll second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Item 53.
And then item number 53, the last one is advertised for depository next January 2025. Our current banking depository is going to end, and so I'm asking for approval for the Chancery Clerk to advertise for another 2-year period.
Move.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks, I'll second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Mr. Lott?
Nothing, Mr. President.
All right, Sheriff?
Nothing, Mr. President.
Nothing. Oh, man. Okay. All right, we want to go back now and get Thad Varner. Back to item, I'm not sure which item it is, but item 36.
The second or third business item, I believe.
Item 36.
All right, so this morning we're here to approve the sale and issuance of the $5,100,000 short-term note of the county. We were here a couple weeks ago to declare the county's intent. We've advertised. We asked for lending institutions to come back to us by 10 o'clock this morning, and I believe Mr. Pittman has about 7 or 8 bids. And so we'll open the bids and announce the rates and award to the lowest and best rate.
Okay, thank you, Thad.
All right, the county received 7 proposals from banks. So the first one is from Webster Bank. That's a bank in Athens, Georgia, I think. But they do a good bit of work in Mississippi. Their proposal is 4.14%, 4.14%. The First Bank. $5.10, 5.10. First Bank.
Where is that bank located?
It's in Madison. Well, the headquarters in Hattiesburg, but it's Madison branch. Next is Community Bank. This came from the office in Brandon. Their community bank proposal is 7.75, 7.75.
Going the wrong direction.
J.P. Morgan Chase. $4.15 from J.P. Morgan Chase.
Is that a Mississippi?
Well, I think the branch in Ridgeland probably helped, but this came out of Nashville. Cadence Bank. Cadence proposal is 5.95, 5.95. Trustmark. Trustmark, 4.33, 4.33 from Trustmark. And then lastly is Regions. They apparently like big envelopes. Their proposal is 4.04, 4.04.
Okay.
And if you'll indulge us 1 second.
Conditions.
These look like big guys.
All right, Regions appears to be the low and best bid, and that would be my recommendation, 4.04.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Banks for Regions at 4.04%. Okay, discussion? All in favor? I'd say aye. All opposed? All right, thank you, Thad. Yeah, we don't want that interest rate to get away from us, so. Okay, that finishes our agenda. I do know we have old business, new business.
I just got a question, since our lobby is here, do they have any information that we might need to know on broadband or any issue that we got going?
Any updates that y'all would like to share at this point on any of the projects? If not, we will get back with y'all in January. Appreciate y'all being here as well. So, okay, any old business, new business? Do I have a motion to go into closed termination?
Move.
Motion Supervisor Banks, I'll second. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Do I have a motion to go into executive session? And the motion to go into executive session would be what?
Right-of-way acquisition and economic development.
Okay. Ronnie, you have those two?
5-minute break.
Okay. Do I have a motion to go into executive? Motion Supervisor Griffin, I'll second. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All- They all should be on. All righty, we are out of executive session. So, Mr. Lott?
Yes, the Madison County Board of Supervisors took multiple actions during executive session. They established just compensation for 2 parcels on Loring Road as well as establishing just compensation for 3 parcels on Yandell Road. Also approved a resolution, which I'm going to read this, bear with me. Resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Madison County, Mississippi, granting a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes to and approving and authorizing the execution of 2 fee in lieu of ad valorem tax agreements with Amazon Data Services Incorporated in connection with the multi-location data center project being undertaken thereby and located within the county, pursuant to the authority vested therein by Section 2731104 of the Mississippi Code of 1972 as amended, and Senate Bill number 2001, Mississippi Legislature Second Extraordinary Session 2024, and 2, approving and authorizing the execution of a project infrastructure loan and contribution agreement as authorized by Senate Bill number 2001, Mississippi Legislature Second Extraordinary Session 2024 with the Mississippi Major Economic Impact Authority, the City of Ridgeland, and the Madison County Economic Development Authority to fund, among other things, public infrastructure in support of such projects and related matters. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lott. Appreciate it. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn to December the 2nd at 9 a.m.?
Move.
Motion Supervisor Banks, I'll second it. Discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed. The meeting is adjourned.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
I hear you coming back about 2:30? 2:30. 2 whatever.